A pair of dress shoes selling in a Toronto mall right now for $189. The factory cost is $14. And the label inside, you almost certainly own a pair. Every major shopping mall from Vancouver to Halifax is operating on a multi-million-dollar deception, and the brutal financial reality is this. Not a single shoe on this list, not the disposable fast fashion pairs, and not the heritage boots retailing for over $700, costs more than $55 to manufacture. The Canadian footwear market is built on extreme retail markups, but there is a massive difference between a brand spending its $14 manufacturing budget on industrial glue and synthetic coatings, and a brand spending its $50 budget on full-grain leather and resolable stitching. One is engineered to fall apart in 6 months, so you have to buy it again. The other is engineered to last 20 winters. By the end of this investigation, you will know exactly how much these shoes cost to make, exactly where they are built, and which 5 Canadian brands are robbing you blind, and which 5 are worth every penny. But first, you have to understand how factory economics, GIADs, dictate the lifespan of your footwear. When a brand has a maximum of $50 to spend on raw materials and labor, how they spend it tells you everything. Number 1. Cemented construction. The disposable trap. The sole is glued to the upper with heavy-duty adhesive. Pennies in labor, seconds to complete. Brands love to mask the glue job with decorative fake stitching. Once that glue fails under salted sidewalks and slush, and it always does, the shoe is dead. It cannot be repaired. Number 2. Blake stitching. The sleek compromise. Upper, insole, and outsole are stitched together in a single pass. Flexible, but water seeps through the sole stitches, and a cobbler can only resole them once or twice before the leather breaks down. Number 3. The Goodyear welt. The generational gold standard. A leather welt is stitched to both the upper and the insole, creating a cavity filled with cork. The outsole is then stitched directly to the welt. This eats up the vast majority of a factory's $50 manufacturing cap, but the shoe is nearly waterproof. The cork molds to your exact footprint, and a cobbler can slice off the old sole and replace it endlessly without ever touching the upper. Now, the 5 brands robbing you blind. Number 1. Aldo, the Montreal Mirage. Aldo trades on its Montreal origin story and Italian-influenced styling. The reality is staggering. Roughly 60% of Aldo's production runs out of China. The rest split across Vietnam, India, and Brazil. The leather on the entry to mid-tier line is corrected grain. Cheap scarred hides sanded down and coated in a thick plastic finish to fake uniformity. Construction is almost entirely cemented. You are paying $130 to $220 for a shoe with a landed cost of $14 to $18, where the sole is bonded with $2 of industrial adhesive and the upper creases aggressively across the vamp within 2 dozen wears. Once that glue degrades, the shoe is finished. You are paying a 900% markup for a logo and a mall lease. Number 2. Call It Spring. Fast fashion in a Canadian wrapper. Owned by the Aldo Group, Call It Spring exists for one reason: to grab the under $80 sneaker shopper before they reach H&M. To hit that price point, factory cost is driven down to $7 to $10 a pair. The result is a shoe built almost entirely from polyurethane-coated synthetic uppers, marketed as vegan leather, with disposable EVA foam midsoles that compress flat within 4 to 6 months of daily walking. No leather lining, no breathability, zero ability to repair. The 800% markup is not buying you footwear. It is buying you a costume that lasts one season. Number 3. Sperry under Aldo Group. The corporate licensing illusion. This is where it gets uncomfortable. In January 2024, Authentic Brands Group bought Sperry from Wolverine Worldwide, and Aldo Group immediately took over as the global partner for design, production, and distribution. That same Aldo Group also operates the footwear licenses for Brooks Brothers, Ted Baker, and Roxy. 4 heritage names, 1 Montreal corporate machine, the same product development teams, the same overseas sourcing network, and frequently the same factory floors producing all of them, differentiated by the logo stamped inside the heel. A boat shoe carrying the Sperry name now retails between $130 and $180. The build is cemented synthetic coated leather with a molded rubber sole that delaminates predictably. You are paying for 90 years of American heritage that is now run as a licensing line item out of a Canadian conglomerate. Number 4. Roots. The Heritage Hijack. Few brands trade more heavily on Canadian identity than Roots. The beaver logo, the cottage country imagery, the leather goods narrative out of Toronto in 1973. The leather bags are still substantially built. The footwear is a different conversation entirely. Most Roots shoes today are manufactured offshore, primarily in China and Vietnam, at factory costs of around $18 to $22. Their casual boots retail from $228 to $328. The leather is genuine, but mid-grade corrected hide, and the construction is overwhelmingly cemented, with decorative stitching that has nothing to do with structure. You are paying a heritage premium of $80 to $100 per pair for a logo that no longer reflects how the shoe is built. Number 5. Little Burgundy, the mall trap that thinks it is a boutique. Originally launched by Aldo in 2008 and sold to Genesco in 2015, Little Burgundy operates as a multi-brand mall retailer with house-branded shoes that fill the wall space between the legitimate names. Factory cost on the house pairs runs from $10 to $15, and they are priced from $90 to $160, often higher in stores. The construction is uniformly cemented. The uppers are split grain and bonded leather, which is leather scraps pressed together with polyurethane and notorious for peeling and cracking within 2 to 4 years, especially at the toe box and the heel counter. The store fixtures and the curated lighting do enormous psychological work. The shoe itself does not. Before we move on to the brands actually worth your money, and there are still genuine ones left in this country, hit subscribe. We dismantle the economics of menswear every week the same way: fabric, factory, markup, no marketing fluff. Now, the 5 Canadian brands worth every penny. Number 1. Viberg, the Pacific Gold Standard. Founded in 1931 and still family-owned across 3 generations, Viberg builds every pair in their Victoria, British Columbia factory. Over 200 individual steps of production are performed entirely on site. The brand specializes in stitch-down and channeled Goodyear welt construction, using brass nails, tacks, and staples that resist corrosion across decades. They produce roughly 50 pairs per day. Yes, the service boot retails between $800 and $1,000, but the math favors the buyer brutally. Full-grain leather, a resolable welted platform, and a build expected to outlive the buyer's career. Cost per wear over 20 years drops below 15 cents a day. This is the closest thing Canada has to an heirloom boot. Number 2. Dayton Boots, the Vancouver workhorse. They operate out of the same East Hastings factory store since 1946. Dayton refuses to use leatherboard, cardboard, plastic linings, or foam fillers in any boot they make. Every pair is built on site in Vancouver from full-grain cowhide, using Goodyear welt construction with Vibram outsoles, steel shanks, and brass eyelets. The legendary Black Beauty motorcycle boot and the service boot both carry a lifetime guarantee on construction, excluding soles. At $700 to $850, the price reflects domestic British Columbia labor, not marketing spend. Made-to-order and bespoke services are available directly from the factory floor. Number 3. Canada West Boots, the Prairie Value Play. Manufacturing out of Winnipeg, Manitoba since 1978, Canada West employs around 65 craftspeople producing Goodyear welted Western, work, and heritage boots. The W.M. Morby Signature Series is essentially a domestic equivalent to a Red Wing Iron Ranger. At $320 Canadian dollars, roughly 100 Canadian dollars less, with quality imported leather, Vibram 430 soles, and Roomy E to Triple E widths. The retail margin is honest. The boots are repairable, properly welted, and built for ranchers and tradespeople who need them to survive years of hard wear. This is the best price-to-quality ratio in domestic Canadian footwear, full stop. Number 4. Hart Shoe Company, the dress shoe Heritage. Founded in 1898 in New Brunswick, Hart is one of the oldest footwear names in Canada. Production today runs in Europe using a 200-step process, but design, material selection, and quality control all remain in Canada. Every pair uses Goodyear welt construction and premium full-grain leather. Their Oxfords, Derbies, and loafers retail between $475 and $725. The shoes are fully resolable, and the closed channel welts hold up against the rain and road salt that would destroy a cemented dress shoe within 2 seasons. For the man who needs to wear a suit in a Canadian winter and still own the shoes in 2040, Hart is the answer. Number 5. John Fluvog, the design original. Founded in Vancouver in 1970, Fluvog occupies a category of 1. Every shoe is designed in Canada and manufactured in Portugal and Poland, at workshops the brand has used for decades. The flagship lines use Goodyear welts and full-grain leathers, with cork footbeds that mold to the wearer. Prices range from $300 to $500. The designs are sculptural, unapologetic, and built to be resoled. Fluvog runs its own resoling program directly through the company called Revog. You are paying for genuine design authorship and a repair pipeline, not a logo licensed from a corporate parent. Across these 10 brands, the pattern is undeniable. Canadian heritage names are routinely used as a smokescreen to hide production costs of $14, offshore manufacturing, cemented adhesives, and corrected grain leather, allowing executives to pocket 800 to 1,000% markups, while you are left with a shoe that belongs in the trash before the next winter. It is dangerously easy in this country to mistake a maple leaf logo for actual domestic craftsmanship. But the cobbler's bench does not lie. Whether a shoe costs $20 to make in Vietnam or $50 to make in Victoria, the only things that matter are the quality of the hide, the structural engineering, and the stitch that holds it all together. Stop funding the illusion of heritage. Refuse to pay a 900% markup for a glued-on sole. Demand transparent sourcing. Choose your footwear based on the reality of the WELT, not the lighting of the boutique, and your investment will carry you decades into the future.